Okay, so again, tomorrow, we're going to be having, from 9:50 to 10:35, we're gonna be having that group in from DeBray Middle School. All right, and I'm not sure how many people there'll be, but we're going to build a scaled-down version, because we only have 45 minutes, of the guessing game program. It's gonna be very simplistic, all right? And I'm hoping that you'll be around, so if students have questions, that you can give them a hand, all right? Now, I don't want to talk much today, but I want to go over this. Everyone should have a handout in front of them. That handout has got the assignment on it, and I will make sure that within about 10 or 15 minutes, I will email you an electronic copy of this handout also. But let's just go over. I'm not going to go over all 25 questions. There's 25 things you're asked to do. Each thing is worth 2 points, all right? And the way I'm going to look at it is that you can get one of like 4 or 5 grades. You can get nothing, half a point, 1 point, a point and a half, or 2 points, depending on whether or not you answer the question completely and correctly, all right? So you already used the latest version of this Acme database. I decided rather than giving you a new one, we'll just use that one. But I want you to use the one that has all 3 tables in it. We worked on that yesterday. If you're having any problems or whatever, you have to let me know. All right? So you should have an employees table, you should have a departments table, and you should have a city-state zip table. Make sure that you go in and add the auto increment to the 3 tables if you have not done so already. All right? So for each problem, I actually want you to execute the queries. Don't just show me what the queries are and then not run them. Actually execute the queries. All right? And you might be asked on 1 or 2 questions, how many records were returned, or what did this mean, etc., and then answer that too. Again, please put your answers on this page. I'm going to give you an electronic copy. Don't write them on the page. If you want to save your stuff to a different file, a text file or whatever, that's not a problem. If you'd rather not turn this in, let's say that you just want to go and work with Notepad++, okay? And I will tell you, if you don't know it already, when you work with single or double quotes in Word, you get those smart tags, the things that look curly. They won't work in your editor, in MySQL itself. It gets confused when it sees that. So sometimes people, when they do worksheets like this, want to do everything in Notepad or want to do everything in Notepad++. If you want to do that, put your answers in there and send me that one when you're done. It's okay. You don't have to write it necessarily on here. All right? So notice, it'll say in here, show the command to do this. I want you to do it, but I also want you to show me the command on how you did it. And please, like I said, each one of these questions is worth 2 points. But for instance, let's say that you add the field, but you don't give it a max value of this. All right? Or you don't set the default, or you don't do nulls. You'll lose a half a point for each one of those things you don't do. Does that make sense? All right? So for this, for example, you'll be looking at alter table. All right? So if you don't know how to do that, look at alter table either in that handout I gave you, or go into the reference manual for MySQL, or just Google how to do an alter table command in MySQL. All right? Number 2, then you're going to add these salaries. So we all get a salary. All right? I'm making more than you. Sorry. So we all get a salary. All right. Change each and every record, but the only one that you have to show is the one that you do for mine. So you're going to set the salary up here, and you're going to do what? How about an update? Okay? And I believe you're going to have to do a separate update for each one of these. I did. But the only one you have to show is just the first one. Oops. All right. Then you're going to add a couple new records into the table. And what records you're supposed to add? Sheesh. The records that you're supposed to add are shown right here. Okay? Notice it says with auto increment, you should use null for the employee ID. I don't care if you do this as one insert statement or as two insert statements. You can do it either way. I don't really care. But this is the information, okay? All right. Number 4, you'll be using those aggregate functions. And when you use those aggregate functions, you'll figure out the minimum, the maximum, and the average. If you don't know how to do those, look at the handout that we went through. Anytime it says aliases like this, so that headers are more understandable, remember that if I ask for an average of the salary, the header is going to look like this. That's what the header will look like. You don't want to have that for the header. Just change it so you won't do that. After you do that, you'll say as something like AVG salary, which looks a little nicer. If you want to put the word average in there, I don't really care. Then you'll do the same thing for the next question as you did up here, except you'll do a group by. All right, and you'll do a roll-up. If you don't remember roll-ups, it's in the handout I gave you. If you don't find it in there or that doesn't seem to be sufficient enough, just Google it. It's out there. I don't want to give you a lot of instruction on here because you have to start understanding databases for what we're going to do starting in fall. All right. Amin mentioned to me this morning, hopefully it's okay I'm saying this, Amin, that he's starting this summer, he's starting his internship. And he's going to be doing C# programming. And he said that place, it sounds like, also has an opening, not an internship, but a regular job opening for an SQL person. All right? And we were talking a little bit about that this morning. There are jobs available out there. There's virtually no firm of any size that doesn't do something with databases. I don't care what it is. I know we do here. All right? If you ever go out to Inside Rank, and that's all run via a database. Everything that's in there is run via a big database. Do I know that for sure? No, nobody told me that, but just based on what you do and how you do it, that's what I believe is happening. All right. Now, if you look here for number 6 and 7, it says show 2 different commands. That means there's 2 ways of doing the same thing. All right? And you're supposed to sort these in ascending order. And what I said there is it doesn't mean that you write the same query exactly twice, and with one of them you put group by department number, ASC, and the other one you just put group by department number. That's not 2 different queries. So there's 2 different ways of doing the same thing. All right? So you'll do that, and then you kind of do the reverse of that in this one. So 6 and 7 are you should have basically reverse output between the 2 of them. Then for number 8, you're going to add, it says add the following new record. It should have said add the following new records, but it didn't. All right, to the city-state zip table. So you'll add St. Louis and you'll add Chicago. If when we were talking about this yesterday, you already added St. Louis, you don't have to do it again. All right? But I like those 2 because they don't have any records information in them, and that's fine. That's the way I want it to be. Number 9, I actually want you to do a Cartesian product join. All right? No. Are you going to be able to use that for anything? No, but I want you to do it so you see what the results are once you do it. Number 10, again, notice 10, 11, 12, show 2 different types of joins. Again, if you look at that handout that I gave you, it explains in there in a lot of depth how to do different kinds of joins. If you still think that's insufficient, then Google MySQL joins. And I guarantee you, either from the reference manual or from Stack Overflow or from some other site, there's going to be a boatload of examples out there. Number 13, you do a left join, and I tell you which table to make on the left. Number 14 is basically the same as 13, except you flip the order of the tables, and instead of saying left, you say right. Number 15, you create a foreign key. If you say, we didn't do that, then look at the examples in the handouts. All right? Number 16, you're going to do 3 subqueries. The good news is, after you've done the first one, the other 2 are unbelievably simple. What's a subquery? Remember, with a subquery, you've got select something. It doesn't matter. From, doesn't matter. where, but in the where statement, you have another select. Okay? And the output from that select, that output now becomes the input for that select. That's what a subquery is. So 16, 17, and 18, it's just different fields that you work with, but they're really not, it's really not hard. Number 19, you're going to add a new field. That new field that you add is called hire date. You know, what I'm looking for on here is not only that you do these right, but that you follow the requirements. So I don't want you to call it date hired. I don't want you to call it hire. This is what you are to call it. All right? And then you're going to go and update all 12 of the records that are in here. But the only one that you have to show me for an update is Paul Knotts. Okay? When you go and you put in the brand new dates, they'll have null in there. So you're going to change all those to these dates that you see here. They mean nothing. Which is something when I was goofing around, I did it. All right. 21. Write a query. This one might involve you having to do a little bit of work. All right? Because what you'll do is you'll print the employee's first name, last name, hire date, and the number of days they've been employed. And there's different ways, but really when you look at it, what's the number of days they've been employed? It's the difference between the current date and their hire date. That's what it is. And if you take that difference and you divide it by 365 or 365.25, that gives you the years they've been there. That's the next one. And 23, 24, and 25 are meant to be simple. 23, you add 2 more records. You put anything in there you want. 24, you update 2 of the different fields on those 2 new records. All right? And number 25, then you remove those 2 records. So you're going to have all period to day to work on this. Tomorrow from 8 until 9:50. Again, they're here from 9:50 till 10:35. All right? And then from 10:40 or 10:45 tomorrow until 11:55. All right, that's the plan. And we'll see where people are at the end of the period. I'm not going to lie to you. There are some problems in here that are fairly difficult. All right? But I did the key last night. Every single thing that's in here is possible. All right? Questions? All right, so the rest of the period is yours then.